about the what is DevOps, right? And what is cloud, and what is the job responsibilities of a DevOps engineer, right? So we discussed, and what are the different course, what is the course content we are covering, right? So we discussed yesterday. So what you can do, you can collect the class recording and the course content from the management itself. Okay. So let me start today's session. Okay. So thank you. Thank you guys. Okay. Yeah, this course is DevOps. So what I said yesterday,
So DevOps
so for the
course.
DevOps
Okay.
point of view, so we need the servers, right? So we said,
Demo
as I said
first
yesterday,
session
we can
for
use the
DevOps.
AWS servers for
So I
our
hope you guys
for
are able
our
to see the
DevOps
screen.
practice, right?
So welcome
So
to the
most of the
session, guys.
companies
So
are
welcome to the
using
first session of
DevOps,
DevOps.
right?
So
And they are
and
using
before going to
the
start this
Linux
session,
servers.
so I would
They're
like to
using
introduce
the
myself.
Linux
This is Raju.
servers.
I'm your
So
AWS and
let's
DevOps
understand
trainer. Okay.
today the
And
Linux.
I have almost 10
Okay,
years of IT
Linux
experience.
server, how we can
So
use the
in that,
Linux
I
server.
started my
So,
career as a
but
Windows
for
administrator.
that point, what you
And
need?
I
One
moved to DevOps
server.
and I
Right.
worked
So
as a
what we can do, we can create our servers as yesterday we discussed. We will use AWS, Amazon Web Services. Okay. So let's understand that. So let's go into that. So for example, for example, so let's connect to the AWS account. Okay. We can see AWS data center, right? This is AWS data center, right? Where all the systems are kept there, right? So you can see that here also, right? So we have the AWS servers like this in data centers. Okay. So what we can do, we can create we can consider this is your AWS data center. In this AWS data center, you have some larger servers. On top of the larger servers, you can see this name of larger servers. AWS will provide some space for you to create your small microserver. Okay, consider this is your server having 4 GB RAM. Okay, and this is your host server having some 64 GB RAM. In that, you are getting some 4 GB space for creating. But how we can create? So for creating the servers in AWS, right, you need a account. You need a account for using AWS. Okay. So let's see how to create a AWS account. So we can go to the aws.amazon.com. aws.amazon.com. So you can click on sign into the console. Otherwise, just go to the aws.amazon.com. Okay. So if you want to create an account in AWS, you can click on sign in. And if you have a account, you can provide your email ID and the password. If you're not having any account, you can click on create new AWS account. Right? If you want to connect to the AWS data center and create a server, consider this is AWS DC, Amazon Web Services. DC means data center, right? So in that, there are some large host servers, right? On top of the large host servers, you're creating small micro instances or servers. Okay, this is the AWS data center. So to connect to AWS data center and create a AWS account, you need a account, right? So to create a AWS account, what you need a email for getting the notification from AWS. You need a AWS account if you want to create. You need a Gmail for getting the notifications for any update of AWS. You need this Gmail account, right? And you need credit card or debit card, guys. Credit card or debit card. Okay. So credit card or debit card. And AWS will deduct 2 rupees from that initially. And they will not deduct without any permission from you, just for this 2 rupees for the confirmation. Okay. So let's go with that. Okay. So you have to use your email ID and account name, any one of the name you can use it here. So what I will do, I will share one document with you. Okay. I will show you one document for how to create your AWS account. You can collect this from the management. Okay. So, and one more thing, AWS is providing this account for 12 months free. You can create a 12 months free account, 12 months free tier account. So that means it is 12 months free, but some conditions apply. But some conditions apply. That means not completely free, but only few conditions, only few services with some conditions it is applicable. For example, you can create a small server and you can run this server with some 750 hours per month, not complete free. Only 750 hours per month it is free, not 1 GB RAM server. It will be free for only 1 GB RAM server. 4 GB RAM servers are not free. 750 hours, only 1 GB RAM servers are free for 750 hours. Okay. So fine. So let's go with that. Okay. So let's go with the document. You have to click on create new AWS account and they will ask you your email ID and your password. You have to provide it and your account name you have to provide. And after that, you can click on continue. In the next section, they will ask you your personal details. If you click on next, in the next section, they will ask you your personal details. You have to provide your full name, phone number, country, address, city, and postal code. You have to provide it. And you can click on create account and continue. And they will ask your payment information, your credit card information or debit card information you can provide here. And you can click on submit. Okay. And finally, yes, they will try to deduct this 2 rupees from your account. You can click on submit and yes, you will get some OTP to your mobile number for the confirmation. So once you confirm that OTP and your account identity is successfully verified, you are the right person, right? You are the correct person. You are using the same mobile, and you have some credit card, debit card, and so finally, what I said, it is 12 months free, right, guys? I said it is 12 months free 12 months free tier account it is. In that it is there are some there are some options. There are some options. If you want to go with free account, you can go for basic plan that is free for 12 months, but not all the you will not get complete support from the AWS. And we have some developer plan. You have to pay $29 per month, $29 per month, and you will get the response from AWS within 12 hours. And yeah, you can go for number of support cases you can create. That means if you have any issue, you can directly create a ticket. Okay. And business plan, you have to pay $100 per month. So don't, for example, if you're going with some experience for a company, don't tell that I used free direct. You can say we are using business plan, right? So you will get some 24-hour short phone support, email support, right? But for your practical, guys, please go with free tier account, right? So once you select free tier account, it will get activated for 30 minutes to 1 hour. 30 minutes to 1 hour, you have to wait for 30 minutes to 1 hour to activate. Your account will get activated by AWS. Once it is activated, again, you should go to aws.amazon.com and you can click on sign in, right? And you can provide your email ID, okay? And you can click on next and you can provide your password. So once you provided your password, you can directly connect to your AWS account like this. So let me connect to my account. Let me use my password. One second. Yeah, this is my password. So let me click on connect. right? So I'm signing in to my AWS account. All right. So you can see that this is my AWS account dashboard, right? So what I said initially, you have the option, right? You have the option to create your servers in different regions. You see here. So you can see AWS is having data centers in different places. So Jyoti Prakash, it is a DevOps course in that we will cover AWS Q services, because if you want to practice DevOps, you need a server, right? You need a server. So the multiple servers for the project purpose, we can use AWS services. Can use AWS services. Okay. So yes. So please go through the demo recording yesterday, right? So I think they uploaded in the YouTube as well. So this is the demo recording. You observe. Yeah. Right. So this is some 57 minutes recording. Right. They uploaded. Yeah. 7 hours ago. Okay. You can go through that. Okay. Yes. Right. What course content we are covering, what is DevOps, what is AWS, right? So we discussed in this class. Okay. So fine, guys. So let's go with that, our flow. So this is AWS data center. AWS having data centers in different locations. Currently, you're in North Virginia data center, right? And they have data centers in different places. They have data centers in Canada. They have data centers in Sydney, Australia, Mumbai. So you can observe that AWS global infrastructure, totally AWS is having, which will be a very, very important interview question. AWS having total 30 launched regions. So actually 1 month back, 29, now one is added. Can anyone say which one is added? So 97 availability zones. So 1 month back, it is 29, now it is 30. So which one is added, guys? Can anyone say? So AWS is having data center in Sydney. AWS is having data center in Auckland. AWS is having data center in Melbourne, right? So AWS is having data center in Cape Town, right? So AWS is having data center in Sao Paulo. So in our India, AWS is having data center in Mumbai, and which was recently launched. I said the 30th one is our Hyderabad, 2022. So you will get one more interview question. How many total availability zones? How many total regions? So what is the difference? What is the difference between the region and the availability? So I can say, if you see, Hyderabad is 3 availability zones. Hyderabad considered one region and it is having 3 availability zones. But what is this availability zone? What is this? Region. So I can say region is a group of data centers and availability zone is nothing but one data center. So Mumbai is complete, right? Hyderabad is complete region. Okay. So having 3 data centers, right? One A, for example, this is some 1B, this is some 1C. Okay. This is some 1C, right? So there are 3 data centers. So by why they are maintained 3 data centers? Why? Can anyone say why the 3 different data centers? Can anyone say? So for example, if you created a server, right, in one data center, and actually in the other data center also you created another same server, your application is running on both the servers, okay, and your customer is here, okay, and they want to access that server, they want to access that server like this. For example, if this data center is suddenly, the power in this data center is suddenly down, or any disaster recovery happened, or disaster anything happened. Okay. So, for example, if this server is not accessible, then client connect traffic, client request will go to this server, right? So we have these high availability, Navin, yes, which is high availability, and the distance between two data centers are minimum 100 kilometers. Minimum it is 100 kilometers. If power is lost here, right? So still you have power in this data center. If this disaster recovery, like any earthquakes are happen, still you have another data center. And one more thing, it is useful for, and one more thing, it is isolated. That means the power is separate and data center uh, location is separate. Everything is isolated, no interlinking between these two data centers. So we are considered this is under Hyderabad region. So similarly, we have total 30 regions, 96 availability zones. Mostly it should have, each region will have 3 availability zones, 3 data centers. If you see, Hyderabad is having 3 data centers, right? Mumbai is having 3. And mostly everything will have 2 or 3, but one, yeah, you can see. So 4 availability zones in here. But one region is having highest number of data centers, highest number of availability zones is nothing but, can anyone say which one is having highest availability zones? It should be enter your question. If you are really working, I mean, if someone is going with some experience, right? So yes, Navin. So you can see North Virginia here. Yes, it is having 6 availability zones. It is having 6 availability zones. Okay, so total 6 availability zones in North Virginia. But what is this local zones? What is this wavelength? We can discuss in our coming classes. So let's go back. Let's go back. So this is our AWS dashboard, right? So you can see it is having data centers. You can see here, and you can see your account information here. This is your account name, and this is your account ID. The AWS account ID should be 12 numbers, 12 digits. And you can see your billing details in this section. And you can see your security settings here. And you can see some settings for disabling the AWS account or deleting the AWS account. You can see the settings here. Right. So, and if you want to use the different services, if you want to create a server in AWS, or if you want to create a storage in AWS, right, you can use different features, but AWS is calling that those are services. The future, service, facility, right, everything is same. Future or service, right, or sorry, yeah, future, service or facility, everything is same, right? Is a service. Right. We can use different services. So AWS is having mostly 60 plus services, 60 plus services. So in our course, we are learning 15 plus major services, 15 plus major services. So we have AWS, right? So different services. If you are coming from for example, if you're coming from machine learning background, if you are a data scientist, you can use this AWS provided data service, right? Services, right? So, right, and this is the database, right? So if you go with AWS course separately, you will learn 15 plus services. So in our DevOps course, I will cover major 5 plus services in our course. Okay, so we'll get 5 major services. Okay, so find us. So let's see that. what are the major services we are covering? We're covering EC2 for server, storage, and networking, and monitoring. So these are the main, okay, and Kubernetes related EKS service, okay, and networking service that is called VPC we are covering, okay. These are the main, but right, so major services and the volume, those are will be part of it, we can cover it, okay. Fine. So if you are coming from a database background, you can use this database services. And this is from Internet of Things. We will get the, if you are coming from Internet of Things, okay. And we will have, right, developer services. If you are a developer, you can use this, okay. And there are different options. So let's go with the server creation, right? And one more thing, what if you have any doubts, if you have any doubts or any issues, you can create a support ticket with the AWS team, and they will help you if any like application related or a server. So if you want to create a server, you can use one of the service. You can use one of the service in AWS. So can anyone say which service we can use it for creating a server? AWS first service, which is a major service. Which one? Yeah. So if you want to create a server in AWS, you can use EC2 service, which is nothing but virtual server service. Virtual server. Virtual means virtual means which are not visible to us, right? Which are not visible to us, and but we are working remotely, right? So virtual servers, right? So yeah, there is physical, but we can't see. Okay, actually, if you want to create a server, you can connect to AWS data center. There are some right large servers. This is, for example, Hyderabad region, right? In that 3 data centers, each data center will have larger servers like this, one larger server, another larger server, right? So in that larger server, you will create your small microserver, right? And you will connect to that server like this, right? As a, so how we can create a server, right? We can see that using EC2 service. So once, right, which can we connect remotely, right? So we can connect remote. So once you know the server creation service, then we can play with our DevOps tools. Like you can play with Ansible, you can play with Kubernetes, Terraform, GitHub, right? And you can play with the Dockers, right? And the monitoring tools, right? Chef, right? So you can play with, right? But you need a server. So you can practice within your laptop as well. So, but that is not a practice of a real-time guy, right? Or a software engineer, right? So let's go with EC2 service, Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud. You can click on EC2. EC2 is Elastic Compute Cloud Service. So we are calling server, right? We are calling server and we are calling EC2 service. It is first service is EC2. EC2 is nothing but Elastic Compute Cloud. Elastic Compute Cloud. It is. Right. So we can say which is a virtual server service, right? Virtual server service it is. Right? So let's go to the EC2. Go back. I will create my server in the, so it is loading. Some network issue. 1 second. Just refresh. Right. So let's go to the North Virginia's data center. Okay. You can go to EC2 service, Elastic Compute Cloud. So in AWS, they are calling the servers as instances. So you can call it as server, you can call it as a computer, you can call it as a device or a machine, right? Machine, right? So you can call it server, computer, machine, but AWS people are calling instances. Okay, AWS calling as instances. Okay. So right, so we can call it a server, computer, machine, instance, right? So AWS are calling as instance. So let's go to the instances. So you can see there are no server running currently, no instances. That means no servers. So if you want to create a server or a computer or a laptop, what you are doing? For example, if you going to purchase a laptop, what are the things you will concentrate? So there are many servers, right? You will concentrate on what are the things? Can anyone say? If you want to go and purchase a laptop, what are the specifications you will check initially? Right? Processor, RAM, Windows version. So SSD, right? So what other things you will check? Right. So motherboard, graphic card, okay, RAM, okay, fine. So if you want to create a purchase a laptop as a server, one thing you will concentrate, that is OS, right? Whether you want Windows or whether you want Linux, you will concentrate on the OS, that is operating system. If you want Windows, you can AWS provide the option to select the operating system type. Yes, Windows version, if you select Windows, okay. And once the OS is confirmed, you will ask that, right? You will check for the RAM, whether I want 4 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, 16 GB RAM, right? 32 GB RAM, right? So, and one more thing you will check, that is hard disk, whether it is SSD or HDD, right? HDD or SSD, right? So we'll check. And the other option is you will set some username and password for the connecting to the computer, right? But the laptop also will set some password, right? So username and password. So mostly you will concentrate on these four. You will concentrate on these four options, right? So similarly, you can go with the same options. Let's click on, if you want to create a server in AWS, you can click on launch instance. Launch instance. Just click on launch instance. Right? So if you see, observe. Here, if you see, if you want to launch or if you want to create a server in AWS, you can provide your server name. Just provide your server name here. So I want to provide the server name is, so some Naresh, right? We can provide some Neetal server, right? So you can provide your server. Now the server name is set, right? So how many number of servers you want to do? You can select. If you want 2 servers, you can select 2. If you want 1 server, you can select 2. And the next option is OS selection. So AWS is calling OS is AMI. OS is AMI. Amazon Machine Image is nothing but they're calling as AMI. So for example, if you want to install Windows OS, you need a CD file, right? Which where the OS software is there, right? Similarly, AMI is nothing but Amazon Machine Image, right? So there you can use AMI, right? So here you can select. If you want Windows, you can select Windows. In Windows, you can select the different version. If you want 2016, if you want 2019, if you want 2012, right? You have the option to select. I will go with 2022 base version, and this is 64-bit. Sometimes we have 32-bit, 62, 64-bit, right? So you can go with 64-bit, right? Right, and let's go down. The next option is username and password, right? So once you selected the OS operating system, if you want Windows, you can select Windows. And the next option is RAM. Which RAM, like 1 GB RAM, 2 GB RAM, 4 GB RAM, you have that option to select, right? If you basically purchase a laptop, it is not possible to select these options, right? So once you purchased, if you want to increase it, yes, again, you have to go and increase, purchase another RAM and you have to add it. But the AWS is having, if you created a server with 1 GB RAM, in future, if you want to increase it to 4 GB, right, you can have that option to change also, increase also. Okay. You can have that option to increase. First time, I want to select the 1 GB RAM. Okay. And the next option is username and password. Which one? Username and password. You can create a password file. Okay. Username is administrator for Windows Server. And the username is administrator, and the password you can create a file. You can create a file to create a password. Just click on create keypad, which is nothing but your password. Okay. So the RAM size, they are calling it as instance type, and the username and password, the password, they are calling it as keypad. So this is some encrypted keypad. For example, I want to create some Naveen keypad. Okay. You can provide your name as well. Just click on create keypad. Okay. Just go down, and this is your hard disk. This is your hard disk. So if you want C drive, 50 GB, you can select 50 GB. If you want C drives, 100 GB, you can select 100 GB. Right here, what is GP2? So GP2 is one of the type of SSD. If you want HDD, you can go with HDD. And if you want HDD, some advanced type, SSD, some advanced type, you have that option. We will see what are the different types of SSD and HDDs are there. Okay, we can see in the coming classes. Okay, fine. So we selected most of the things, right? So this is Netal server, right? In that we selected Windows operating system, Windows 2022, 64-bit, and this is 1 GB RAM server, nothing but instance type. And you created your password file. Let's see that how it is, what it is having. This is my password file. Let's open this file in Notepad. Right, this is my password. But currently this is in encrypted format. We can use AWS to decrypt it. We can use AWS to decrypt it. Okay, so I will show that how we can decrypt this password to the password, some 8 letters password, how we can decrypt, we can see that. So fine. After that, you selected the storage, your C drive with 100 GB. Just click on launch instance. Right, it is creating. If you see, it is created and it is having some ID. It is having some ID, right? Just click on view all instances. So this is Netal server. This is the ID. And currently the state is in pending state. It is trying to create. It is trying to, it is in pending state. Okay, and this is the instance type t2.micro. Okay, which is you selected with 1 GB RAM. So, but what is this instance? What is this instance? Right. So, if you observe in the same Netal server, you can attach to another server also. There will be two Netal servers, but the IDs will be different. So, how we have school and colleges, the persons with same names, right? But the you can identify the using roll number. Roll number is standard, right? Right. So similarly here, instance ID is the standard one, right? Instance ID is the standard one. This is your Windows server you created, and this is your instance ID. This is your IP address, public IP, private IP, and your host name. What is all these? We can discuss. Let's refresh. You can select your server, okay, and if you are not using what AWS is providing, if you use it for 1 day, you can pay 1 day bill. If you use it for 1 hour, you can pay 1 hour bill. Yesterday we discussed, right? Pay as you go price. If you are not using, you can simply go ahead and go pricing, right? So if you are not using, you can simply go ahead and stop it. Or if you are not using permanently, you can simply go ahead and delete it. You can terminate the server. Okay. So just click on terminate if you are not using. If you want to stop it, you can stop. If you want to reboot, you can have the reboot option. So that is the main thing. Let's create one Linux server as. So just go to launch instance. Right. You created a Windows server, right? And let's create one Linux server as. Right. So same, you can provide the server name. This is, for example, my Anvesh Linux server, right? Linux server, and number of servers I want to create only one. Okay. And there are different Linux types as Linux server types. There is a Ubuntu Linux type, there is a Windows Linux type, right? There is some SUSE Linux type, right? So in line, how we have Windows 2019, 2022, right? Similarly, in Linux also there is few types. There are few types. Can anyone say what are the different types? We have Ubuntu, we have Red Hat, we have some CentOS, different types we have. So we have that option. Fedora, yes, Fedora is there. So we have that option to select. Okay, Kali Linux, right? Red Hat Linux, SUSE Linux, Debian, right? So I want to create one Amazon Linux server. Just click on Amazon Linux. Okay. And let's go down. If you want 1 GB RAM, you can go with 1 GB. So if you see here, free tier eligible. Right? This is eligible for your 12 months free tier. Okay. And you can use, I want to use same key pair which I created earlier. I want to use the same Navin key pair. And I want to provide. So in Windows, we are calling it as C drive, but Linux level, we are calling it as primary drive. Okay, in C drive, we are calling, right? OS related applications. So in Linux, we are calling it as primary drive. For primary drive, I want to provide some 50 GB. Okay, so I want to provide some 50 GB. Number of servers, I want to create only one. Number of instances. Let me launch the server. Right? So yes. Naveen, did you miss yesterday demo? If you missed it, just go through that. So we need Linux because what are the DevOps tools? Linux, right? So what are the DevOps tools you are using? Ansible server, Jenkins server, right? So everything we will use mostly Linux. Okay, you need Linux. So I will help you. Okay, I will provide you the Linux classes. So which are the basics. First, you should learn Linux. Then only you can move to the DevOps. then it will be easy for you to troubleshoot the issues. So it is mandatory, okay, to crack the interview. Okay, so if you see view all instances, you have your, yes, so Neotal server and Avinash Linux server. I want to edit the name. You can click on this pencil symbol. You can provide the name. This is Windows server. Okay, just click on save. And this is your Windows server. This is your Linux server. All right. So let's try to connect to the Windows server first. Just click on this server. Click on connect. And there are some methods to connect. You can use SSS manager, session manager. You can use RDP client. You can use EC2 serial console. I want to use this RDP client. RDP, most of the time in the organization also will use this RDP client. Okay. So here the RDP client. Here RDP is nothing but remote desktop. If it is a Windows, you have to use RDP remote. You can note down if you want remote desktop. Okay. And if it is a Linux, you need to use some SSH. SSH is nothing but secure shell. Right. So this is remote desktop file. Just download this file. Okay. And just click on open. What I said, the username is administrator. Right. The username is administrator for this Windows computer. Right. Username is administrator. Right. So just click on connect. This is the window. So the username is administrator. Click on more choice. Use different account. Provide username administrator. And what is the password? What I said initially. We can use this password file, right? We can use this Naveen Keypair password file. So you have to go to your AWS same console. Here you have this get password option. Just click on get password. And here what you need to do? You need to upload your file. Just click on upload and select your file. Click on open. And if you want to get the password from this, you can click on decrypt password. You can click on decrypt password. So this is your password. This is your password. Just select, just copy, right? And you can provide here. Username is administrator, password is, you can provide here. Just click on OK. So just click on this. So what I did, guys, so I created a server, the Windows server, and I created with some 100 GB C drive, right? If you see it is connecting, right? It is connecting to your Windows, Neotal Windows server in AWS, right? This is your Windows EC2. Right? This is your Windows EC2. This is your disk, right? So we can call it is a EC2 server, right? Right. And we can call this is server or instance. Similarly, this 100 GB C drive is nothing but your volume. So instance is nothing but server, volume is nothing but a drive. Okay. You can see this is your AWS Windows server. If you see my computer, you can see that C drive of 100 GB. So it's loading, please wait. You see that? This is your seat. Your 100 GB. Right. Right. Let's connect Linux as well. So let's cancel this. So you can see this is your Linux server. Right. So you can click on this. This is your Linux server. Just note down, click on instance state. There are different options. Just note down these options. So we have the stop, reboot, terminate option, right? So, and let's connect to the Linux as well. So just click on connect, select your Linux server. So there are different options: instance connect, session manager, EC2 serial console. We can use this SSH client. Okay, we can use this SSH client. SSH is nothing but secure shell. That is secure shell. For for Windows connection, we are using this RDP remote desktop. For Linux, we are using this SSH. So we can say this is the port number. This will be important. That 3389 is the port number for RDP. You should open this port in the security group of your server. What is security group? We can discuss that in coming classes. But if you want to connect to your Windows server, you should open this 3389 port in the security group level. So both those are by default open. And if you want to connect to your Linux server in the security group level, you should open this 22. So these are mandatory, right? You should open SSH shell, right? It should use 22. It is using 22 port. So anyway, so let's connect to the Linux. This is your Linux SSH client. You should use this command to connect. And there is another option, that is instance connect. You can connect as a EC2 user, right? So here for the Windows, you are connecting as administrator user. For this Amazon Linux, you are connecting as a EC2 user. Just click on connect. So everyone knows that Linux is having the black screen, right? Linux is having the black screen, right? You can see this is your Linux. So this is EC2-user is the username. This is the IP address of your system, Linux server IP address, the private IP address. So what is private IP? What is public IP? We can discuss in coming classes. So as of now, you can remember public IP address can be accessible by everyone. Private IP address within your company only access it, within the company network. Within the company network, they can access. So if you see this is your Linux server, right? And you can run different commands, listing the files, ls, right? You can list down the files in a one folder. And if you want to see the time, system time, if you want to see the date, right? You can use date command, right? And there are different commands. As a which user you are connecting, who am I, EC2-user, right? And in Windows, we have this C drive having 100 GB. In that 100 GB, some 84 GB is free, remaining 14 GB is used, right? So this 16 GB is used for this OS related files. Similarly, and for the server level, if you want to see storage, this is your Windows, you can see your C drive of 100 GB. And this is your Linux, you can see the storage of your 50 GB. In command line, if you want to see that, you can use some df-h command to see the 50 GB, how much it is used. This is your 50 GB. In that 50 GB, 1.7 GB is used for your OS related files, right? So in Windows, we are calling it as C drive. In Linux, we are calling it as primary drive, which is denoted with slash symbol. If you observe here, the complete 50 GB is on which folder? Slash folder, right? So this is your slash folder. So fine. So we can see that Linux classes from tomorrow, okay, and how to create a file and how to play with this, how to connect as a different user, right? Consider this is your Linux server, okay, and how to create a file we can see, and how to install the software. If you want to practice your Ansible playbooks, or Jenkins files, or Docker containers, right, or Kubernetes pods, right? So you need a server. You created a server, but you need to install Kubernetes. How we can install? If you want to install Ansible, how we can install, right? We will see those concepts. We'll have the Linux sessions from tomorrow onwards. Okay. What you guys do, okay, please install few softwares before coming to tomorrow class, please install few softwares. Okay, so you can install the Linux connectivity software called Putty. Please install Putty, and please install Notepad++, and please install Git Bash. Okay, these three you have to install for before coming to tomorrow class. And please create your AWS account. Create AWS account. So any doubts, guys, before that? So I will show the process. Before that, just put down your doubts in the chat section. So create a AWS account. First priority is creating AWS account for tomorrow class. Please create it, and please download Putty software and install it. So you can use Putty download option. Just download the Putty. Just go to putty.org. Two-month course it is. Download Putty. Okay, just click on here, and you can click on this installer.msi. Just download this. The course index and that everything will be shared by the management. You can collect the course content from the management. Just download this 64-bit installer and install it. How we can install? Just click on open this software. Okay. Right. So just click on next install. So there will be the next install option. You can install it. So I already installed. That's why for me it's not showing install option. You can install it. Right. Just click on cancel. Okay. So anyway, I don't want to install because I already installed it. And let's go with the, okay, cancel. And let's see where you can find out Git Bash. Just click on Git Bash. Okay. Download and go to Git downloads. And you have the option download for Windows. Just click on here. Okay. And click on 64-bit Windows setup. Okay. And you can install by just open this file. Okay. So Putty is useful for connecting to the Linux servers. I will show you tomorrow how to connect. Okay. Yeah, S1 you can check with management. Okay. And one more thing, guys. Once your work is done, don't forget to stop your servers or completely delete also not a problem. Just select those two and go to instance state and terminate. You can go for 32-bit Guru Raj. If your system is 32-bit, you can download 32-bit install. Okay, fine. So I deleted my servers. Okay, just install this Notepad++ also. How we can install? You can click on Notepad++ download. Okay, and just click on this Notepad. Okay, you can call Naresh IT. Okay, I don't have the number. You can check with Naresh IT. You can call Naresh IT. Okay, so you can download the Notepad++ file. Okay, just open it. Right, and you can click on OK, and you can click on next. right? So you can install directly. Which is straightforward installation. You can click on install. Okay. So we have weekend Saturday classes. Okay. So that's it, guys. So what we can do, we can meet tomorrow. Okay, we can meet tomorrow. Okay, and we can continue our Linux sessions. We can start our Linux sessions, and also between we can see our AWS services. Okay, so fine, guys. So we can meet tomorrow. So thank you. Have a nice day. We can